If you guys haven't seen the new video, Some Days, featuring Mamba, make sure y'all check it out. It's on YouTube. It's on all streaming platforms. I appreciate the love. I appreciate, the feedback and just the positivity. I didn't even mention, today we got a special guest coming on the podcast. It's going to be virtual. He's got an album coming out. I'm curious, so once he gets on, we're going to ask him, hey, how did this come about? How'd you do this? Because I'm really curious. I want to see what exactly was the creation process on that. But anyways, thank you guys for tapping in. Today we got a few things that we want to talk about with Preston S. We're going to be talking back and forth, sharing ideas, and also just talking about his new album. 100 on the dash, heart been pumping super fast. I'm too focused, I can't crash, trying to get through all the past shit. Never really had shit. Gotta say I'm grateful. Some days it takes a lot of talent, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of, pressure, dealing with pressure. To do an album, to put in work like that, because I know personally, because your boy, I produced my whole album overtime. All right, so I produced that whole thing. I made all the beats on there. I recorded myself. I came up with the album artwork, all that stuff. All that good stuff, all that behind the scenes work that people don't see. People don't normally see that stuff, and that's kind of what I want to tap into also with Preston, because it's like, dude, we do so much work behind the scenes, but people only see the product of it, the outcome or whatever. Just like I was saying earlier, the creation process it's always different for everybody. It's different it's different. It varies from artist to artist all the time, So just bringing on another artist on here, it's gonna be super cool. It's gonna be, it's gonna be something that I want to do. I want to keep doing, but I need to open up the field. I need to network a little bit more with these artists, because a lot of these artists are super talented, man. A lot of these artists are really talented, and we're gonna go ahead and join Preston S into the conversation here. He's actually on, so let's get him on real quick. Let's see if it works here. Can you hear me, Preston?
Yo, what's up?
Hey, what's good, man? All right, is my audio clear? Can you hear me? Oh, I can see you now.
Yeah, I can hear you real good. Yeah, that makes sure that's
cool. Hey, do you prefer headphones? Because honestly, I do.
Honestly, I do, yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, we're on the same page. All right, hey,
all right,
so if you guys didn't know Preston S, I want to introduce him here very, subtly. Preston S, he's an independent artist. He has put out a few songs before. He actually has an album dropping on November 5th. Is that right? November 5th. And that's called Alternate Universe, right? That's the name of it?
Yeah.
Alternate Universe. All right, Preston S. So I actually wanted to talk to you about that album, man. So tell me what inspired the album. How did you think about it? What sparked the idea, behind the whole album? Just tell us a little bit of background from it.
All right, so the whole album, originally, I got the idea in 2020 during quarantine. We were all locked up, and it really sucked. And I remember I was walking downstairs one day, and my mom's like, life just sucks. It feels like we're in an alternate universe. Every day it feels the same. And so I was in the middle of creating my first album, Legacy, at the time. And so I was basically writing down, and I still do. I write down everything that I hear that sounds cool. So I was like, write that down.
Okay.
I didn't end up using it for the album, but I started working on this song, and I was like, this is really cool. And I don't know if you've ever played the video game. It's called Mirror's Edge. It's this future kind of dystopian parkour game. It was a lot of fun, and that was kind of my inspiration for the album. And it didn't make the cut for Legacy because it didn't really match at all. But then I was like, maybe we'll come back to this later. And so we ended up coming back to it. I reached out to one of my friends. I was like, hey, you're getting into animating CGI 3D stuff. You want to animate a music video? And he's like, sure. And I was like, you actually want to do a whole album? And so he's like, yeah, sure. And so it was me and my friend Micah and my friend Zach. And Zach has been my go-to video director. And we have all just been kind of working together. I think 16 months ago is when this whole thing kind of started. Wow. And it's just been a lot. Yeah, it's a long time. So a lot of work. And really, the final theme that we've decided upon is that feeling of nostalgia. Was it really as good as it seems? And because we were always thinking back, man, life used to be so good when we were kids. But then I was thinking really, was it as good as we think it is? And so that's really what the song's lyrics explore, and I'm super excited for how it turned out. And the production quality from last year when I released Fever Dream to now, like I remember you made a reaction video to that song.
Yeah,
I remember
Dream.
you jumping because
yeah,
it was crazy.
No, that was lit, dude.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Thank you. So Fever Dream was a great song, and the production quality was not really there. You know, I was just getting started. I was teaching myself everything, but now I'm at the point where my high standards of what I want my music to sound like is starting to really get there. And I'm really liking how it sounds. And it used to be I'd make a song, then I'd put it out, and then the next song I'd make, it would be a lot better. But this time, like, I keep listening to it and I don't get like sick of like hearing it. I don't know if that's just sort of growing, finding my own sound. Or...
Yeah, no, that's definitely part of growing, man. That's cool because like you said, the quality has definitely improved, you know, and I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to hear what you have coming out with this next album, you know, because like you said, man, when you barely start, like you're still trying to find your voice, trying to find your sound, and trying to see like where you fit in, you know, because every artist is different. Every artist has a different voice, has a different, you know, creation process.
Exactly.
The delivery is always different. Like, are you more of like a, you know, like a lower kind of, or are you more like you want to sing at the top of your lungs type of thing, you know? So it's just it's and the thing about being independent too, like you have the full like creative space to do all of that, you know. You don't have to worry about like, oh, I'm a rapper, so I can only rap, I can't ever do anything else, you know. And that's what I like about you also. You've brought a lot to the table that's different from everything else I've ever heard, you know. So I think honestly, I'd say, yeah, for sure, I'd say you are original. You know, you have a lot of ideas that are just like they kind of just sprout. And it's crazy. Like, I never heard of that game that you mentioned earlier before, but I'm gonna check it out. You know, I'm gonna check it out and see if it kind of you know resonates with like your album. Like, cause I like the way that you're I like the cover art. I like the way
yeah. I got the cover art right back.
Is that it right there? Okay, yeah. Okay,
I'll send you a picture to put up on the screen.
Yeah, cause I saw that and I was like, yo, this guy really has like everything like pretty much synchronized. So like the name, alternate universe, the cover art, it's like totally matching the vibe of that, you know? So that's
what I think a project should be. Like a lot of albums that are put out nowadays, they're just trying to like ride the trends or do whatever's popular. Yeah. And I mean, they're good songs and stuff, but like they don't really last. Like it's not something like 10 years down the road I'm gonna still be listening to.
That's facts, man. That's facts. And I was telling a buddy about that. I was like, you know what, dude? I was like, yo, what, like to you, what is the word like trendy? What is the word cool like mean to you? And if you think about it, it's just like it's temporary. You know, that's a good way to put it. It's temporary. It's not gonna last. It's like I can't hear this. Like, you know, the world changes just like it did from the past 5 years to like today.
Oh my goodness.
And you can't just, you know, think that you're gonna put out something that's trendy because it's like cool now and then hope for it to last for the next 5-10 years. It's not gonna happen. That's why like when you brought up the word nostalgia, dude, that's like, dude, right now during quarantine, you know how many people were listening to like old stuff, watching old shows, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so you already had that all locked in. How, like, so I know your mom kind of brought up the idea of like, oh, this feels like an alternate universe, you know, of, you know, the quarantine and all that. But besides that, was there any musical influence that had to do with the creation of the album? Like, was there an artist that inspired you for it?
Yeah. So it's kind of hard to hear like while listening to the album, but there are like tons of different inspirations. For some of the beats, I was inspired a lot by like Mike Dean and like Travis Scott, the stuff that they're doing. The beats that they create are just, they're just masterpieces. They have a whole story to just the beat. And I knew that if I could just make a beat that kind of tells a story, that's it. Like it's hard to explain, but I just wanted to really show that like visual side, but it's hard to visualize something when you're hearing it. And that's what I wanted to do with this album. I guess they were some of the inspirations. Kid Cudi, also with his whole Man on the Moon trilogy, because it's all, you know, kind of in space. And so that really inspired a lot. But then there are a lot of like other inspirations that I didn't even really realize were inspirations until after. I listened to pretty much all different types of music. Like even just along with developing my sound, I realized part of developing your sound is the music that you listen to. if
Yeah.
I just listen to one certain type of artist, I'd probably only make that kind of music because that's all I'm inspired by.
Yeah.
But even over this last year, I've really opened it up to a lot more different types of music, like Childish Gambino, Tyler the Creator, who else? Frank Ocean. Started listening to Frank Ocean a lot more. So I guess really all the different genres of music have kind of brought up my sound and have really changed it over the last year. But I would definitely say that Kid Cudi, Travis Scott, Tyler the Creator, Frank Ocean, just all it's not just more. It's not like one. It's more
Right.
like
A mixture, right? Yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's what makes great artists is being a mixture of all the things that you've ever consumed, right? So like all the artists that you've ever listened to, you know, all the different melodies, harmonies, whatever has
Yes,
been brought into
exactly.
you, like subconscious mind. I think that's what develops, you know, a new artist, a fresh artist, and that's how they keep coming out, you know, because like think
Exactly,
about it,
yeah.
back in the day, right? Everybody would listen to like the mainstream, just like the big names out there, right?
Mhm.
But nowadays you have like access to so much more. So like an
Right.
independent artist could actually, you know, put themselves out there like a, you know, like a major label could, whatever. I mean, it takes money, obviously, it takes
Right, yeah,
investment,
yeah.
you know, but it's possible, you know, it's definitely possible. And to build a team, it's also possible. So honestly, Preston, I wanted to ask you this, bro. I wanted to ask you, out of everything else, right? Out of every field, category, you know, whatever you could have done with your time during this past year, two, whatever, why did you choose music, bro? What, like, why did music call you? Like, what was it about it that you said, all right, this is what I want to do?
That is such a great question. And to kind of think about that is it's hard to explain, but ever since I was little, I've always loved listening to music and singing.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I first got signed up for piano lessons, I hated piano. I despised it. It was awful. But then I started getting into guitar, and I was really getting into like 80s, 90s rock and like some older stuff too, like 50s, 60s. And I was really liking it. And for a while, I wanted to make rock music. I had a band for a while, and like, so definitely a lot of influence from rock. But
Okay.
the whole thing with music is just the way that I'm able to express myself is through songwriting. And so I didn't originally want to start and be like some big artist. I just would write songs. And at first it was kind of hard because like, how do you teach someone how to write a song? Everyone's like, how do you write a song? Like, I could never do that. But once you just, it really is therapeutic, and I'm sure it is for you too.
Oh yeah, definitely. 100%.
It's awesome. Yeah.
100%.
And so the way that like I did it, the way that I expressed myself was through writing the music, and it's changed. And from the very start, the songs have gotten, it's not like a linear, like go straight up from like that to good over a couple months. You'll write songs that are really good, but really bad. And I think the important thing is just get it all out. Like every day, forcing myself to write a song every day was really helpful because it got like all that bad, like just bad music out of me, I guess. If that makes any sense. And now I can go back through my notebooks and be like, oh wow, this song is really good. And that's how I ended up coming up with Bonnie and Clyde, for example, Fever Dream. Like most of my songs have at one point seemed like throwaways, but then I go back and look. Same with Alternate Universe. I was like, this song isn't very good. But you never know what could inspire you. And that's why I write down everything that sounds interesting to me. It's really super helpful. Yeah.
Yo, yeah, I like how you just write things down and like you don't look back, you know. So do you write a lot? Do you actually physically write it, or do you?
Yeah. So I gotta find that.
Okay, so you actually
I have
write.
a lot of. So any ideas that I have or anything, I usually will like put it down in my notes app or voice memos. But I actually do write, like physically, like write down. This is my notebook from last year.
See, I feel like nowadays, a lot of like we're just like on our phones a lot, you know. So we're just like writing it on the notepad, and I feel it's different when you write it. I feel like it's different.
It definitely is. Like I would say, writing it at first, it seems kind of like weird, especially as like a guy like writing. I feel like journaling is kind of like has a stigma to it. It's like, oh, it's just for girls, but like,
no, I always thought that too when I was younger. When I was younger, because you'd see like TV shows or like cartoons, and like they'd make fun of the person with the diary, you know,
right? Exactly.
And it's like, what the heck? But it really actually helps you, you know. It's
really
actually good.
Does.
It does.
And this is my notebook from last year, I believe. it took me about a year to like fill it up, but like as you can see, like every page is like written. It's like got tons of stuff. And looking back at this, like sometimes I'll just read through it because it's not really like easy for other people to like understand, but like when it's stuff that I've written, I get it. I'd be like, wow, I felt really bad that day, and it really kind of it's like a map. It's
it
like
all
a
connects.
map of, like what I went through. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Just the way that we're wired, like everybody's different, man. You know, like
exactly, yeah.
Because like the way I like to do things, right, is like I like to map it out in my brain. So like I'll get like patterns going similar to music. Like let's say like I'm just like doing physical work or something, you know. I'll like move to the music or whatever. Like that's just the way my brain is wired, you know. Like I meant like I don't know. It just keeps me in like in a you know continuous movement or whatever. It applies to a lot of things. Amazing. Yeah, and I was actually talking about before you tapped in. On the podcast, I was talking about the creative process and the things that people don't see. What's one of the things that you wish people could see that people don't normally see behind the scenes when it comes to like making music?
There's
a lot, right?
There's so much, because I wish I could record it all. Like I wish that I had like my own like documentary team. Like that'd be awesome, because I'm so interested in film, like editing and everything.
Oh yeah.
But I guess the biggest thing is just knowing that like I go through stuff too. Like what I post on Instagram, I try to be as authentic as I can, but like it doesn't get everything, you know. And there's a lot of times like when I get like in the zone for like these projects, and I'm still like figuring out how to like manage and balance, because you know I got school, I got this, I got this, and then I got the music, and it's finding that balance can be really hard. And then if I go too hard at one thing, the other thing starts to fall.
That's facts,
so maintaining
man.
that balance. Exactly. I'm sure for you, like family is like
man.
really important. It's really important to me. And so like balancing everything is just, it's a lot. And I think I really wish that people could see that. Like I try and show that, but I feel like people don't understand that I'm human, that the artists that you see, they're human. They're not like super, I mean, they are super amazing people, but they're not like superheroes.
Right, exactly.
They're real people.
I like that, man. Honestly, I love that perspective that you just brought on, because honestly, the balance is tough when you're an independent artist. Because let's be honest, right? The people listening to the music, the people that are supporting you or whatever, that's like that's what makes us feel good, you know, like showing that, you know, or getting that appreciation, getting that support, that feels good. It feels like our hard work is paying off, you know. But then there's times, dude, where you're just like, honestly, for me, like I've gotten burnt out, you know, with the music. We're trying to balance. And honestly, it's the balancing of everything else. It's not just the music. It's balancing everything else. And just like learning how to, you know, set up my time in like the right places with the right people and stuff. And anything can throw you off, you know. Things can throw you off all the time. And especially with this last year, you know, with the whole, you know, everybody knows what we're talking about, dude. I don't even got to say it. But it's like, I like how you said that the balance is super important, and like people don't really see that. And I like how you said you try to, you know, be authentic and everything. But at the end of the day, it's like people don't want to see you down. They don't want to see you down bad, right? They want to see you an artist striving, like making them feel good. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, but where do I, you know, how do I cope with like what I'm dealing with right now? And honestly, that's another question that I had written down for you, bro. I was going to ask you, how do you deal with like tough days? Let's say you have writer's block, or you just don't feel the music that day. Everything else is kind of like, how do you deal with those type of days? Do you have anything that you do, or?
Yeah, so on the toughest days that I can like think back of, I'll just, for example, like any of the songs that I've ever done, the tough days, it's usually, I'm like, looking back, I'm like this close to discovering something amazing or completing something amazing. And it's just that little bit that's like, oh, if I wouldn't have given up there, something big would have happened. And that's a really great motivator for me. And because I get really unmotivated sometimes, especially like you said, burnt out. Making this album, there's this one song, and I had to re-record it 7 different times until I got it how I wanted. And I almost dropped the song from the album, and I almost actually dropped the album because of the song. It was so difficult, and part of that comes with being an independent artist and not having all this fancy equipment and everything. Like, I literally record on a blue snowball microphone. Like
Yeah.
making that sound good is a whole job in itself.
Facts,
And
dude.
not having the funding for like marketing or anything and having to do it all by myself. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I do have friends that do help with stuff and I really appreciate that. But at the end of the day, it's my stuff. And no, it's hard to explain to people that aren't artists, but like, I'm sure you get what I mean.
Yeah, 100%, dude. I feel exactly where you're at. Cause look, artists like, you know, it's easy to look at an Instagram account for like a big artist and be like, oh wow, they're doing it amazing, whatever. How many
Right.
people are helping them get to, you know what I'm saying? Like how
Exactly.
many, like they probably didn't even take that picture. They probably didn't even edit that. They probably didn't even upload that picture. That's
know.
how connected they are with people, you know? So it's like,
Exactly.
and then when you try to do all that yourself, it gets overwhelming because like, think about it, like let's say 90% of people use social media to just post like their dog, you know, or just kind of like just their food or whatever. But for us, it's definitely like an image. It's an artist image. It's like, what do we
Exactly, yeah.
want, you know, people to, you know, like it's almost like a kind of like a landing page, you know, like, oh, I kind of want to learn about more about Preston S. Let me hop on his Instagram real quick, see what he's doing, you know. It's
And
kind
that's
of
why
like
we have to make everything like perfect. And
Exactly,
that's why it's hard
dude.
to be authentic. The balance is just
100%.
the days where you're feeling like, oh man, I'm not really feeling music today. Like you don't want to tell people that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, yeah, I'm not really feeling
Exactly.
music today. Like, but there is days where honestly me, I'm like, yo, I'm not feeling the music today, man. I gotta like, I'll spend time with my daughter, you know, I'll do things, you know, just that have nothing to do with music. And I noticed that when I
Right.
do that, it almost brings the balance back to where I'm all right to do
Yes.
music again, you know? And that's a big one, man. Finding the balance. I like how you
Yeah.
brought that up, man.
I think the biggest part about finding a balance is finding people that you trust, that you can talk to, they can just vent and like get it out. Because usually
Yup.
you're going through it and you're burnt out. Your mind, your options that you have of what you can do are burnt out. So if you
Yeah.
have someone coming in with a fresh mind that you trust, I think talking to people is like the biggest thing. And that's not just music. That's like everything, right?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, like this podcast right now, dude. You know, it's been a while since I've done a
Exactly.
podcast, and just getting to talk to another artist that understands what I've been through.
Right.
Dude, I like it. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of artists also that are, you know, putting in work. Maybe they just started. Maybe they've been doing it for a while. They're gonna you know resonate with a little bit of things that we're saying in here. Cause like I said, man, being independent is tough. Like it's tough. That actually brings me to my next question. Actually, Preston, what? Like if I were to ask you, let's just, you know, you can keep it specific, or you can do it specifically, you can answer specifically, or you can, you know, make it general, however you want to do it.
All right.
What is your goal with your music? What is like your actual like final goal? Like what is it that you want to do with your music?
I love that question.
Yeah, I want to know, man.
Okay, so it took me a while to find this, and I'm sure, you know, the purpose is going to change. But over quarantine, when I was like developing myself and finding music and loving what I'm doing, it really like it took a lot of like praying to like kind of figure it out, because I hated waking up every day and not having a purpose. Like, what am I doing with my life? And I hated that. And no one else around me like had that problem, or at least expressed that they had that problem.
Right.
Part of that was because, you know, I'm young. And part of that is because maybe I wasn't surrounded by the best people then, but finding my purpose so young has been so helpful because that's what I need. And so I know that I was put here. God put me on this earth to inspire people and just change the world. And that's what I'm trying to do with my music. I'm trying to show that just because you're a kid doesn't mean you can do it. You might not be able to control everything in your life, but you can control what you do with your time, and just do something that you love. And don't listen to what everyone says, because that's the thing with, you know, middle school, high school. Everyone's so scared about what everyone else thinks. And my biggest thing is I don't want to regret not doing something because I was afraid of what someone else would think. So I'm trying to inspire kids to like get out there and do what they love. It might not be music. It probably won't, but if it is, go do it. Whatever it is, just get out there and do it. And don't listen to what other people say negatively about what you're doing, and just be yourself. That's
absolutely, man. That's spot on, man. I love that answer. Yeah, I love that, man. It really makes me think about, you know, when I was growing up, and I was always that one kid that stood out, and I was like, I just kind of, you know, I kind of kept it to myself. I was like what should we really do? Like what could we really do, you know, to like not just inspire people, but like just to be a good person in general, you know? Like how can I make it? Because for me, I would always like, I'd make friends, right? And it'd break my heart if one day they'd be like, hey, I'm not your friend anymore. You know, and they
Right,
would do
yeah.
that to me. They do that to me. I'd be like, yo, what? Like, I'd always try to fit in. I try to, like, you know, and that just growing up in school and like as a kid, you know, you're like, okay, where do I fit in? Like, where am I gonna fit in? Where am I gonna be accepted? Like, where is there not gonna be, you know, like you're almost trying to find the path of least resistance, you know?
Right.
But as an artist, dude, like you go through so much resistance. Like
Exactly.
a lot of the times, some people won't even support you. Some people, when I started, bro, people were laughing at me. People were laughing at me, bro. They were laughing at me. And I mean, and now they look at me. Now they're literally watching every one of my stories, every one of my, you know what I'm saying? And it's the
exactly.
same.
I have that same thing going on.
Yeah, dude. So it's like, wow. It's like, it makes you really realize, like, wow, I really was here for a reason. Like, God really put me through all those things in the beginning so that I could, you know, be somebody, be a leader somehow, in some way. It doesn't matter. Like you said, it could be music. It could be through something. It doesn't matter what it is. But if you're inspiring, you're trying to bring people up, I think that's the golden ticket right there. That's what matters the most. You know, trying to bring people up. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter what you look like. Doesn't matter where you're from. Doesn't matter what you sound like. Anything. None of that matters. At the end of the day, it's like, yo, I get a great feeling when I see other people win. Like when you post this album and like when you post this album and like it does crazy numbers, that's going to make me happy. You know, because I like to see other people win. I can't be the type of person that just sits back and is like, oh man, I wish that was me. You know, like I could never
don't understand how people are like that. It's like, there's room for you too. Just go work. Just go do it. There's room for you at the top. Just go.
Dude, exactly. There is room for everybody. There's room for every single person out here to have hundreds of thousands of fans. Like there's so much room for everybody. Honestly, I feel like there's not enough music. Compared to the people on this planet, there's not enough music, man. We need more artists. We need more people that are
real artists.
Yeah, more real artists, straight up. Because, you know, like, this is another question that I kind of want to ask you. Were you ever stuck on like an artist when you were young, growing up? Like, did you get into music when you were young?
Oh yeah.
Like to the mainstream, or was it like church music? What was it? What were you listening to when you were like, let's say, like the first song you could remember? You know, like
first song that I can remember. I grew up. My parents listen to country all the time. I don't really like country.
Okay,
but I remember really distinctly. I don't really remember like listening to music until I was like about 8, 9, or 10, and I had this neighbor across the street from me. And he had 2 older brothers, and so he'd always be listening to rap. And so he kind of put me on rap. And at first, I was like, "What is this? What is this weird music with all this weird language?" I didn't get it. And but then I really started to get into it. And then there was also the other influences. Like my dad listened to a lot of punk rock, and so I liked that. And just really all these, again, developing your sound. But there's always these artists that I think. Who was one of my big artists that I really got into? I remember when I first heard Eminem, I was stuck on Eminem for like, because as a 9-year-old, when you have someone saying the stuff that Eminem is saying, that's like, oh my goodness, I had never heard someone say the F word 10 times in one sentence. Like, it was amazing. It was amazing as a 9-year-old. Yeah. And then it really started to grow, and I feel like that also has to do with nostalgia. Like the music that you used to listen to, it attaches itself with memories, and that's one of the coolest things about music. And I have all these influences and I have all these people that I really liked, but the coolest part about listening to music is bringing back the memories. And that's why I love making music and listening to music so much. But like you said, there were some artists that I used to listen to that now I listen to, I was like, oh, well, I was listening to a lot of the mainstream stuff, and especially I'd say in like middle school, I was listening to a lot of industry plants like Post Malone, Ian Dior, that really now just kind of fell off because they weren't unique. They weren't just like being themselves, and I guess that kind of played a part in my music. I'm just trying to like go against the grain and just trying to be different, be original.
100%. Yeah, no, that's crazy. That's crazy how you mentioned like when you were in middle school, like Post Malone and all them were coming out. I think I was already like in high school, you know, I was already like graduating. So it's crazy. Like, and this all ties in together. The reason I asked that was because I was going to ask you, do you think that music shapes the minds of young kids? Do you think it has a part in that?
I think it does.
100%, right?
Like I was saying with memories, like it has to, because a lot of the stuff that you listen to, I know not all of it like goes, it might be subconscious, but not everything you listen to is gonna like go straight to your heart, you know?
Right.
But like, I feel like I would really hate to be growing up now with the popular music that's going on now, because it is just, I don't know. It's just,
that's the thing.
I can't
like,
really explain it.
I feel like that's why you're doing music also, is to give them a different outlet. You know, like, it's not like, that's not all that's cool or whatever. That's what I'm saying. Like, this cool stuff, this trendy stuff, it's temporary, you know?
Right.
And you're going to see it change when your kids, like, let's say you have a 5-year-old now. When they're 10, it's going to be completely different. When they're 15, it's going to be so different. So it's like, so if you think about it, when you started listening to music, a lot of us were young, right? So a lot of us got shaped, our brain got molded when we were young with the music, you know, whether it be the lifestyle, the culture, the lyrics, just, you know, the harmonies, the whatever it is, you know? And it's crazy because, like, I feel like us as independent artists, it's super important for us to stay authentic, like you said, you know? And I'm from personal experience, I've been there. I've wanted to, you know, try the trends. I've wanted to ride the waves, you know, what other artists are doing, because I'm like, oh, but they're doing it, you know, and look how they're doing it.
And they're getting numbers.
And they're getting numbers,
exactly. It's just temporary. Like
exactly. It's temporary, man. That stuff doesn't last. What lasts, you know what lasts? Mariah Carey's freaking Christmas song. You know what I'm saying?
She makes $1 million every year off that song. Like, oh,
you're set for life, dude. You know what I'm saying? And like, imagine if you were to do that, you'd have, you know, you'd have your partners or whatever, your buddies. They'd be clowning you. You know, like, oh man, you made a Christmas, you made a love song, whatever. But it's like, dude, this is gonna last way longer than your freaking whatever your little you know, project, whatever it is. But yeah, man, ever since I was young, like, I noticed, like, oh man, like, I want to be like somebody. I want to do that, you know? And I noticed, like, okay, like, you have to understand that when you're doing music and stuff, like, are you targeting people that are already kind of had their brain molded by someone else? Or are you targeting the ones that you're going to help mold their brain? You know what I'm saying? So like, kind of what I'm saying is, like, are you targeting, like, older people that are your age, you know, going through stuff you already did? Or are you trying to develop people? You know, that's kind of like...
I think that's like a great question, because I don't really think about that too much. But now that I think about it, maybe I do. Like, it's hard to explain, but like, the people that are going through it, or really the target, the people that I'm trying to, like, inspire with my music, are the people that were like me in middle school, that were following everybody, trying to fit in, trying to be popular, going after this, that at the end of the day would, like, go home and, like, just be unhappy with their life. And I don't want anyone to have to feel that. And that's what I'm trying to do. That's the way that I live. Like, I try and, like, you know, support people that, like, you know, aren't maybe the top person, or like, just being nice to everyone. It's like such a big thing, because the biggest thing is you never know what could be going on, like, at home, what's going on. Man. Maybe they had a bad day, but, like, that's the biggest thing. So I moved from Iowa to Texas over the summer, and that is the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life. And I think it gave me a lot of, like, confidence in myself that, like, all right, I did this. I can literally do anything, because it was so difficult. And moving as a kid, like at my age, like, it's a really big, I don't want to say that everyone should go through it, but, you know, everyone should, like, have to go through that, because if they want to, because, like, it really builds you as a person. And now I have all this, like, confidence, like, well, I did that. I can just be myself. And it really it's super freeing. And so what I try and do is just, like, inspire people that maybe aren't being themselves, or are scared to be themselves, to just stop overthinking it and just do it.
Yeah, and a lot of it's our environment, man. Like, like, to be honest, like, let's say you're a kid going to school, right? And you just don't like the environment. What control do you have, dude? You're gonna have to be there, you know. And when you said that you moved from Iowa to Texas, that kind of, like, freed you up a little bit. I feel like that's the same as, like, let's say you have a job, you know, a 9 to 5, you're working, whatever, and then you have a vacation and you go somewhere that you've never been to. It's almost like that, you know. You're like, I can finally be myself, you know what I'm saying? Like, nothing is, like, stopping you, nothing's holding you back. You're like, I'm right here, I can be myself. And honestly, that's a really great point that you brought up. I'm glad you brought that up.
Thank you.
You know, I like that, man. And honestly, like, I feel like the reason you chose music, you know, or maybe part of the reason, is just like what you just said earlier. You don't want other kids to go through what you went through.
Right, exactly.
You know,
yes.
so if you can like show them like, oh, what, like he actually like found something that he's really passionate about, he's really doing it, and they're right there, you already got them hooked. Like they're gonna want to know how you started, and
Right.
and when they find out, oh, he started just like me as a kid that went to
Yeah.
school and like didn't really like you know the things going on or whatever. It's almost like nostalgia. You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, this
Exactly.
kid started just like me, you know, and that connects you
Yeah.
so much more. Like it's crazy.
And
It's
that's what
crazy,
I'm
man.
trying to do, like with the branding and everything. Yes, it's branding, but also it's me. Like what I'm trying to do, there was a big shift like in like last year when I was doing a ton of YouTube videos. I was getting really burnt out because it was just kind of doing that trendy stuff, trying to get subscribers.
That's a full-time job itself.
Yeah.
Dude.
Oh, YouTube is
It
crazy.
is, man.
Even though I enjoy editing, I would get to points where I was like, I'm not doing this video because I just can't anymore.
I've been in the same spot. Yep.
Yeah.
I've been in the same spot.
And so what I tried to do after that, I was like, well, let's just make videos that are like along with like my purpose, and like let's just try and inspire people. And so that's what I'm trying to like do. And like you said, with Instagram being like a landing page, if someone wants to find out more about me, I leave it all out there, like an open book, and they can just find stuff. And my goal is that to make everything that I create as good as it possibly can, because you never know who could see it, and you never know whose life it could change, could save.
Yeah,
like
100%.
You never really know, and like that's all in God's hands, really. But like when they like come across my stuff, I want them to be able to like go through it and be like, all right, I relate to this guy. Let's see what he has to say. And one, that does kind of help the music, but also it really supports like the big vision of trying to inspire people and like just bring people closer together and tell them that their like circumstances don't define who they are.
Right, exactly, man. It all ties together. You know, it all ties together for the purpose of why you make music, you know? So I think that's really something that's super important to talk about, is why did we start all this? What inspired it? What was the creation process? We tapped into a lot of that stuff. One other thing that I wanted to ask you, actually I have a few more things I want to ask you if that's all right. So I have a question for you. I actually wrote this one down. So do you value when you receive constructive criticism? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What's your opinion on constructive criticism when somebody tells you, "Hey, you could have done this, or you could have done that"? What's your take on that?
So anytime I send something out, I always say, any feedback you could give, I'd really appreciate. And a lot of people just say, "Yeah, it sounds great," and I respect that, and I expect that. But also, I'm trying to find something deeper that can like build me up and make me a better artist. And sometimes people will reach out to me and be like, "Oh, you should have done this, you should have done this." And it really, who I take advice from really depends on what I want to like trade places with them. I think I saw it, that quote somewhere, like, don't take advice from someone that you wouldn't want to trade places with.
Oh, okay.
Or like people that you don't really like get along with or don't have the same values as.
Exactly, yeah.
Because it's really about who you trust and who you surround yourself with.
I like
and
that.
I feel like that's like a really big part of all of this. And so constructive criticism, I really appreciate it. But some things are like, some of it's like, I just agree and say, yep, totally.
Yeah,
and then I just do my own thing, because some of it is like, you should follow these trends. You should do this. You should do this. It's like, that's cool. And then I just do my own thing.
Yeah,
that's what I do for some of the parts. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's the same thing, dude. Like, for me, it depends on, like, who is, you know, giving me the constructive criticism. Like, if it's somebody that I want to trade places with, like you said, then, okay, I might have an open ear and listen to what they got to say. If it's somebody that's never made music in their life, and they say, hey, it doesn't sound like the professional stuff. Like, dude, okay, you don't get it. Like,
you don't get it. We're working.
You want to come and make a song?
It's exactly. So those type of people, like, you just gotta like be like, okay, you don't get it, bro. All right.
Right.
You know, like, it takes time to get to that level, you know, or whatever.
But some constructive criticism, like, a lot of it, you know, can come from like your parents and stuff, and some of that stuff you don't want to hear until like maybe like years down the road, you're like thankful that you heard it. So like some of that stuff you just have to like go with, even if you don't want to. Like, I remember, man, when I was little, I never wanted to go to sleep. I always wanted to stay up late. And like now I'm glad I went to sleep, because otherwise I'd probably still be tired from those years, because I don't have enough time to like get a full 12 hours of sleep every night. But like some of the stuff like that, like you just got to go with and like see what happens and just be thankful later on.
That's for sure, dude. Yeah, 100%, you know, and it's just being humble and just accepting it, you know, like, okay, I don't really have another choice, you know. I mean, when you're little, you kind of have to go to sleep when your parents tell you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, dude. So, yeah, that's one of the things that I wanted to, you know, get your take on. I have another question right here for you, Preston. So we kind of already talked about this one. We kind of just threw it in there a little bit. Okay. So it's actually probably my final question, honestly, because everything else, like I wrote questions down, but I noticed that I just kind of brought them up. Like they just kind of like, I just remembered them.
That's a natural interviewer right there.
Hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Because I just like put down like, you know, like pinpoints or whatever. We might talk on this, on that. And then boom, it just kind of comes in at the natural time. But I was going to ask you, out of every artist, okay, let's say, you know, dead or alive, it could be dead or alive, out of any artist out here, if you could get one feature on your new album, who would it be?
Oof, that is such a good question.
And it can only be one.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm trying to think.
Who would fit? Who would fit in it?
Who would fit? Honestly, if I could get Kid Cudi on the album, that would be amazing.
I was thinking the same thing.
He would sound so good on it. Or I gotta really think about this one. Oh man. I would say one of the most nostalgic songs for me is, I don't know if you've ever heard it, but what's it called? It's what's that one Trippie Redd song that's like he did with Diplo? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm not sure. I don't know the name of it, but I know what song you're talking about.
Yeah. I want that style of Trippie Redd for the feature on Nostalgia. That would be perfect, because that song is so nostalgic for me.
Yeah, for sure.
That would be awesome.
I could hear that.
Or Lil Skies or Landon Cube, because those two, I really grew up listening to Lil Skies and Landon Cube.
Wow.
I've taken a lot of influence from them, so I'd love to like make music with them at some point. Like they're like kind of my big like goals. Like I want to make a song with Landon Cube. Oh, I really want to make a song with Lil Skies, because what they have gone through in their life is, you know, kind of similar to me. And like, those are two of the artists that I can think of from recently that I know that they've had that work. Like it's not like some label just offered them. They're not an industry plant, and that's really hard to find nowadays. And so it's really cool to like watch their journey, like watching like Skies freestyle in school and like all this stuff just like build up. It's super cool. So that's definitely cool, man. One of them.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. All right, so I wanted to see, you know, who would fit on the album, whatever. And I think Kid Cudi would definitely fit. Lil Skies would definitely fit. I know all those artists you mentioned, Landon Cube, I think would definitely fit. And it's crazy, like you mentioned, like you were hearing them like growing up, right? You were listening to them growing up,
right?
But for me, I was already like, you know, graduated high school, barely finding out about them. So it's like it's cool to like tap into like different generations, you know, because like there's always gonna be different, you know, people, and there's gonna be like the what do you call them, like the goats, you know, like the ones that are just they've been there for a minute, they've been doing it, and they're still doing it, like Lil Wayne, you know, for example.
Lil Wayne will never stop,
dude. That's what I'm saying. When I was growing up, dude, Lil Wayne was like, he's literally like the father of all these rappers nowadays. Auto-tune, dreads, tattoos, you know what I'm saying? He's like literally the father of all of these rappers. And like nowadays, I mean, I don't hear his music as the same as I used to, because like back when I was younger, I was like, oh, that's so cool, you know, it's cool, but like cool is only temporary. Exactly, bro. Like that's only temporary. And then you grow up and you're like, okay, like there's more, you know, there's more that we could, you know, more areas we could reach, more people we could touch. And it's just like, I guess it's just God's work working through you, you know, like you want to reach more. You don't want to be stuck with one genre, you know. You don't just want to be a rapper forever, you know what I mean?
And that's why I hate these, like that. I made this song called Labels. I think you did the reaction video too, but
Labels,
the whole idea of the song, it was kind of like a fun like pop kind of like rap song, but the whole idea of it is just something I kind of live my life by, because like I hate it when people are like, hey, you're the rapper kid, right? And I'm like, I mean, I guess so, because I don't like it when people like confine me to like a certain like label, or like I can only do this. don't put me in a box like that. I really
Right.
hate that. And so like
Yeah.
someone's like, you make rap music, or you're the rapper, and so now I start saying, no, I'm an artist.
Yeah, there you go.
And
See?
they're like, oh, okay. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, just listen to the music. You'll see.
Exactly, man.
And
It's
so
different,
yeah,
man.
it's hard. It's hard to be confined to that, and especially growing up as a kid, you're also put that label that you're a kid. When you're a teenager, everyone expects you to act like an adult, but still treats you like a kid. So like these like labels that people put on other people, I think help make it easier for them to like manage their lives, especially in high school. You have like all these cliques and groups and stuff. And I think the coolest thing is when you kind of like break free from all that and you're just yourself, and then you can just kind of be whoever you want to be.
Exactly, man. That's the most freeing part of being an independent artist. That you can be whoever you want to be. Like, let's say you want to go through like a rock phase, put out a rock, project, whatever. No one's gonna tell you anything. You're gonna get new fans, if anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you know, and people are gonna see a different side of you that they didn't really, normally see. But that's just one of the things about just being an artist in general. You have no boundaries. There's absolutely no rules to this stuff, dude.
Right.
You could create the new sound. You could think like, oh man, my sound doesn't sound anything like. But you could be creating the new sound right then and there in your bedroom. You don't know.
Crazy. Yeah.
It is definitely crazy, man. And just the way we're all connected nowadays, it's like, why wouldn't you take the chance, Why wouldn't you? You have all this, like, all these platforms out here. It's literally about just creating attention and just retaining that, It's hard. Yeah. You have to stay consistent. Hard, the people that want to rock with you will rock with you. And the people that don't, well, whatever, maybe they'll catch on later. It's whatever. But hey, so November 5th, Alternate Universe drops.
Yes, sir.
All right,
yes.
What are you planning for that day, man? What's your day gonna look like that day? What time is it dropping? Are you doing anything for it?
All right, so it's dropping Friday, but Thursday at midnight. Same time. So I don't want to give away too much, but the music video, I have thought about it, and I was like, I could be doing what I have done before, where I put out a bunch of different videos for each song, lyric, video, visual. I'm doing it all in one. So the whole visual production for this whole album is all going to be one video. It'll be like timestamped and everything. Oh, and so I'm working crazy on that. And it is like nothing that I've ever done before, along with the music. Like I had to put this album, like, this is not legacy. This is not any other music that I've made before. This is not a rap album. This is not R&B. This is Alternate Universe. Like, it's nothing else. It is its own thing. And so I'm really trying to not like force it to be unique, but like just do whatever feels right. Like, one of my mentors, his name's Jesse, and he always, I was really struggling about trying to be original. And I was like, well, I can't be like them, or I can't be like them. And he's like, no music is exactly original. It's all built off of each other, pull influences from everywhere, and you make what sounds right. And that's, I took that and I was like, well, then I'm just going to make what sounds right for me. So I just started writing. I started making beats. I just started doing whatever creatively felt right for me. And I think that is the biggest step to making the music that you want to make, making the art you want to make, making whatever that you're trying to create. And so what to expect on that release day, it's dropping Thursday at midnight, so Friday morning. And the whole album rollout so far has been really great, but it's going to get even better. I'm doing a lot of stuff. I'm doing merch, physical copies, like everything. Like, I'm going all out for this. Oh man, and it's not just gonna stop on the release date. Like, it's gonna keep going. I got lots of stuff planned. I started doing TikTok, so who knows what can happen on that app. It's so unpredictable. Yeah. But just trying to be myself on there, and then whatever happens. And then it's gonna be not just this one, release. It's not just an album. It's a whole world that I'm trying to create with this.
That's crazy, man. I think this one's definitely gonna have longevity. I can already see it. I can already see it like 5 years from now. Hey, remember when you dropped Alternate Universe? Like, yo, like, looking back, it's gonna be like nostalgia, dude. It's gonna be just like that. Because I saw your album, like your album artwork right there that you have in the back. That thing is, dude, I was like, yo, I can already feel what it's gonna sound like. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird to say that, but it's like, I almost have the feeling of what it's gonna sound like. So
I'm totally excited, man. Honestly, I'm pumped. I'm gonna add it to my playlist. You know, I'm gonna be bumping that
For
in the
real?
car,
Let's go.
in the
Yeah.
studio right here. Like I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna play that. All
That's
right.
awesome.
Anything else that you want to add? Any message that Preston S wants to send out there? Maybe it's you know, a young kid listening to this. Maybe it's somebody that's already, you know, past their prime. Anything that you want to leave them with? Any message of inspiration? Maybe some wisdom? Anything? What would you let them know at this time right now?
I would tell you, doesn't matter where you are, who you are, how old you are, what you did, or what you're planning on doing. Stop overthinking it and just do it. Like, that is the biggest thing that I can say, is stop overthinking it and just do it.
That's right. You guys heard it from Preston S. Stop overthinking and just do it. Just put in the work. You're going to find people that are like-minded. You're just going to find amazing people if you open up and actually do the work. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, Preston S., it was a pleasure having you today. I don't want to take up all your time. I know you have some family over and everything, so I'm going to give you some time
I had so
and
much
spend
fun
with
in
them.
this interview.
Hey,
it's so good to talk to another like-minded artist.
Yeah, definitely, man. Honestly, I had fun on this one too, and I want to do this again next time. Maybe you know, maybe when we're collabing on like
for real,
something, you know, because I remember we did the collab, or you sent me the loop, you know, I made the video on that.
Yeah.
And
that video was awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, bro. But you told me that you were busy with like the whole album and stuff, and I respected that 100%. I was like, he's on his grind right now. You know, I'm just gonna let him do his thing, because I know what that is like. I know what it's like when you're like, because when I did my album and I was on grind mode, I was like, you know, just putting in work. I was like, yo, I didn't really have no time to, like, you know, to do any other stuff, because my plate was already full. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, even if we didn't collab this time, we could always do it in the future. And
exactly. I definitely want to work with you, man.
Yeah, definitely, dude, for sure. And I think we both are, you know, since we're both independent, I think our music's gonna be changing, you know, from here to the next, you know, couple of years. Who knows? You know, who knows where we're gonna end up next year? Maybe we're gonna be pop artists. Who knows, dude?
Right. It's the coolest part of the journey, is you never know what's gonna happen. And a lot of people have this clear, like, all right, I want to get here, but it's not really about getting there. It's not about actually being there. It's about getting there. It's about the journey.
The journey, dude. The journey is
the coolest part.
Yeah, because any artist that I've ever or I've seen interviews of, like, you know, artists that are already doing it, they already did it, whatever. They always say that the best part is the journey. That's the funnest part, because there's no destination. There really is no, like, okay, I made it, I finally did it. Because like when people say, oh, like, I hope you make it one day, and I hate when they say that, because it's like, make it where, dude? Like, make it where? Hey, you want to buy me a ticket? Like, where do you want me to go? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand what they mean by that, because I don't ever see myself making it. I always see myself like, I want to keep going, you know, past whatever point I felt like, oh, I made it.
Right.
You know, because there was a point where I was like, I want to get 1,000 subs on YouTube. Yeah. And then I hit that. And then it's like, okay, what else? Like, you know, was that my goal? Was that it?
Right.
Like, nah,
it's dude. Like, well, what comes next?
Exactly. It's like a stepping stone to the next plan. So every goal that I set, I try to make it a stepping stone to the next big thing that I'm going to do, you know? Because when it comes to being an artist, bro, it's a never ending, like, it's just never ending, bro. You know, like, you really have to love it. Yeah,
and that's like the fun part, because I can tell you, you know, getting the praise for like, wow, this sounds so good, or I really liked it. That's great. But again, it's just temporary. Making that music, like, when I'm just like playing guitar, like by myself, and just like feeling the music, that to me is the most rewarding part of all of it. That's 100%. My favorite part. Or like when I recorded something and like made a crazy beat and I'm listening to it, I'm like, this is amazing. That is the best part about all of it. It's not about the destination. Man. It's about this.
It's the journey. Yeah, the journey. Once you fall in love with the journey, once you fall in love with the little things you're doing, even if it's editing a video, whatever it is, like that, it brings you the fulfillment. Once you see that song done, finished, it doesn't matter who watched it, it doesn't matter who listened to it, you put it out, whatever, like it's done and you're proud of it. Like that level of, like that feeling of accomplishment is incomparable, dude. I don't care if you just got a raise. I don't care if you just got like a awesome new job, whatever. That feeling of you creating something and you being appreciative of it and just feeling grateful that you're able to do that, that's one of the greatest feelings.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the greatest feelings. Again, Preston S., I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. And November 5th, make sure you guys tap in. November 5th, Alternate Universe is going to drop.
November 5th. Let's go.
Sir. All right, Preston S., man. Thank you for tapping in today, and take care, man. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. See you guys.
Later.